Okay, so in the social media roundup this week, we're going to start with NHL.com staff voting Luc Robitaille the best to ever wear number 20. I mean, Kings fans are going to agree with that. He was up against Ed Balfour, and one other player. And I mean, come on, Jesse, number 20, best to ever wear it, Luc Robitaille. I mean, I know you're biased, but like.
No, I am heavily biased. And I'll allow a tiny little peek into my personal psychosis. When I was a kid, I had Luc Robitaille's jersey. I had his poster on my wall. I love Luc Robitaille. I don't like hero worship. I don't like, the idea of raising individuals above everybody else, generally speaking. But Luc Robitaille is the exception for me. He was my childhood hero, so much so that anytime you hear me criticizing Alexander Ovechkin or questioning why we fed him so much, I will admit right now freely that it is entirely because I'm scared that he might one day eclipse Luc Robitaille in the minds of hockey fans as the greatest left wing to ever play the game. So there you have it. I
was going to say,
wildly approve of this selection.
As someone who grew up a really big fan of Luc too, how does it feel to work for someone like him? I mean, you guys are colleagues now. Is that crazy?
Completely surreal. I'll just tell a quick personal anecdote. I went to a Reign game. I bumped into a friend of mine. It was shortly after I'd made the transition from freelancing for the Kings to working for the Kings. And they were asking me, how does it feel? Is it great? Is it everything you wished for? And out of the corner of my eye, I saw Luc coming down the concourse, maybe 100 yards away. And so I started talking to her, doing a bit of a Shaggy Dog story. And I said, if you honestly want to know the greatest part of this job, I said, watch this. And Luc got, within, 10 or 15 feet of me and, to the point where I knew he'd see me. And we made eye contact and we just did the little, hey, little quick hand wave and just head nod. And he looked at me and said, hey, how you doing, buddy? And walked on. And I just looked at my friend and said, that's it right there. That's
it.
That's it.
What a guy.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I shouldn't say this out loud because maybe they won't, but you could stop paying me and I would do it just for that interaction.
Just for the head nod from Luc.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I need.
It is that cool, though. It is. It is.
I'm incredibly lucky. We're all incredibly lucky.
We really are. We're blessed. Next up, we've got a picture that Anze Kopitar posted wishing his father a happy Father's Day. Great picture of Papa Kopi smiling all big right there. I mean, what a guy this guy is. We see him all over the rink at TSPC whenever he's in town. And Jesse, I hear me out. If he's talking behind you, doesn't it sound like Anze Kopitar is behind you? Like their voices indistinguishable. Like they're the same person to me. They're the same person.
Yeah, and I have to confess, I love when a player has a coach for a dad.
That too.
But I just want to know whose hand that is in the picture holding that phone.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. Oh my gosh. Next up, we've got some Jonathan Quick fan art. Okay, and this is from Spitz Designs, and it's a collab with Northern Artwork, Jesse. And I looked into both of these accounts here. One of them is a graphic design intern with Golden Gophers hockey, and the other one is studying sports media at Ryerson.
Wow.
If these two humans are just still in school or interning, someone needs to hire these people because look at the freaking quality of this artwork right here. I am blown away. Jesse, this is the kind of art you see being sold at Staples Center. This is the kind of art someone would buy custom online. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? It's a beautiful masterpiece.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm constantly jealous of people who can create something like that. When I was a kid, I would doodle, and I had friends tell me like, "Oh, you should explore that more," and I never did. I have a friend who's a professional artist, and I constantly admire him for his talent, and he gets mad at me and says it's not talent, it's practice. He says that he puts a ton of work into it, and so he's constantly annoyed when people dismiss it as just God-given talent. But I look at something like this, and I just can't imagine. You could give me a lifetime of practice, and I don't think I could replicate something like that. It's really impressive.
Unbelievable. And it's not just like one face, like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have 4 different it's unbelievable.
I'm gonna make one tiny nitpick though.
Uh-oh.
And it happens a lot.
The art critic's coming out.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the art of it.
Okay.
It bugs me at the King's offices too. You see there's 2 Stanley Cups in the picture there?
Yeah.
Well, the Kings haven't won 2 Stanley Cups. They've won the Stanley Cup on 2 separate occasions. There's not. I'm sorry, but that's the whole point of the trophy is that there's one and it gets passed on. That's just a minor thing for me. I try and make sure that when I talk about having won the cup, that I never say, oh, they've won 2 cups, they've won 3 cups, whatever. I try and say they won the cup however many times they've done it, because in my mind, there's only 1 cup, even though technically there are 3. There's 2 replicas, but there's supposed to be only 1. So anyway, but nonetheless,
like
beautiful,
a tiny
beautiful
bowl,
piece of work.
and then there's 2 statuesque looking ones.
Right.
One that stays in the hall, one that travels around. Oh my gosh. I think of it like tally marks. So it's like we won. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying. There's different ways to say it for sure. We're going to remember what you just said about the 2 cups, and I will bring that up again later on in the social media roundup. So remember that. Okay. Remember that. Next up, we've got fans receiving their masks from the Kings, and it's terrifying. Okay, we've got a Bailey mask showcase here. Have you seen a Drew Doughty mask? Is that floating around too? With the toothless grin?
They're really upsetting.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on these, and would you wear one?
I would. I think that hopefully, I don't want to project out too far, but I mean, Halloween is only 4 months away, whatever it is. I could imagine the Drew Doughty mask coming in handy on Halloween, and who knows what Halloween will look like this year. But it's a pretty good tool for freaking people out, I think, if they're not expecting it. But the Bailey one is funny. I like the Bailey one. The
Bailey one is pretty funny. We've got some reaction here in chat, and the 13th Seahawk says, "Oh my God, it's me." Are one of those photos of you? Wow. Okay. And they're loving it, saying you look awesome. Lowly says, at this rate, Halloween is next week. Honestly, what day is it? We don't even know. Well, actually, we do know, because on Thursdays we do this show, and that's all we know. This is our marker for the week. But
I know what day it is. It's the day before the draft lottery. That's what day.
There we go. And Aperture says these are hilarious. The Dewey one is so good. I think they're scary, but I love them, and I would definitely buy one. And would definitely get probably some stares at the supermarket, which I'm okay with. Next up, we've got
Happy Father's Day,
Jeff Carter.
Thanks for being a great human
sending
being.
out some
You're
Father's Day messages to fans. Fans were paying for messages custom from Jeff Carter for their fathers on Father's Day. All of the proceeds benefited Wags and Walks, which him and his wife Megan are heavily involved in. And we've got a video for you to see one of the messages that was sent out to one of the dads on this Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day, Juan.
Somewhere.
Thanks for being.
Yeah, it's playing right now. I'm not sure if people can hear it or not, because you and I can't. Otherwise, we'd get description. But the takeaway for me, besides the money going to Wags and Walks, which is a great charity, is just look at that beard. And I mean, I know I've been growing my my quarantine goatee. I've been trying to keep it contained on the sides, but that is a Jeff Carter playoff beard, and I always forget just how majestic some of them can get. Jeff Carter does it again. It really is.
Healthy. There's nothing patchy about it. It's like he has your goatee times like 40, just around, like all around his cheeks, and there's some depth in there.
There's a little more Stanley Cup silver in mine than in his, but he'll catch up, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, next up, we've got Willie Mitchell and Milan Lucic out on Tofino Marina on Willie's boat. King size is the name of the boat. And Jesse, let's bring this back up here, because there's 2 cups here. Yeah. And I know it's taking place of the I in both King and size. Do you think this is the same kind of faux pas as the other 2 cups in the picture?
No, I'm fine with it, because this one is just a logo, and the I in King has 2012 on it, and the I in size has 2014 on it, and it's I don't know if wordplay is exactly the right phrase, but it's naming a boat names are usually sort of clever, fun little plays on words. They have puns in them, whatever. So I'm fine with king size in this setting with the 2 Stanley Cups, or with the Stanley Cup represented twice, I should say. So yeah, I like it. I'm just stunned that it's 2020 and we're just now finding out about Willie Mitchell's boat name. I don't know how long he's had the boat, but I feel like it must have been a while.
Share with us. Oh, by the way, my pajama pants. I'm like literally like I put my leg up and I'm like, oh God. Wearing pajama pants, everyone. What was your reaction when you saw this? Because you said, I didn't even know he had this boat. Like I didn't know that was on the back of the boat. Like what a revelation there. What was your reaction? Can you share it with the viewers?
I felt happy that
Yeah.
his time in LA meant so much to him that it's on his boat permanently. So now every time anybody up in Vancouver sees Willie Mitchell, they'll remember that the Kings won the Stanley Cup twice and Vancouver has still yet to win it. So the fact that Willie's up there being
Oh,
himself, sticking it to Vancouver fans, that makes me happy on multiple levels.
now we need to see Toffoli on his boat to then
Right.
bring more anger to Vancouver fans. Just the two of them, king size on the back. I think that'd be a good pick next for Willie. Next up here, we've got Meatball again.
Yep.
And I'm happy anytime there's a Meatball mention in virtually anything. And this time, it looks like Meatball's in the doghouse. He puked on Matt Luff's bed because he can.
Yeah.
And I know you have a special name for the types of photos with the dogs.
Yeah, well, it's not my name. It's look, I'm a cranky old man who likes to yell at clouds. So generally speaking, when slang words enter the lexicon, I tend to crinkle my nose up at them. I don't like them unless they were around when I was a kid. But when you have a picture of a pet or an animal sticking its tongue out like Meatball is doing in this picture here, it's known as a blep. BLEP, and that's a new word that's sprung up on the internet in different forms and everything. And I happen to love the word. I'm not a huge fan of all the other words that are in the same category as blep. There's doggo for dogs or catto for cats. Not a huge fan of baby talk amongst adults, but blep is a perfect word that describes something that pet owners have experienced, forever. I had 4 cats and 2 dogs growing up, and there were plenty of bleps to be seen. But I didn't know we didn't have a word for it. We had to say, oh, look, Rudy's tongue is out. Or look, Jenny's got her tongue. It's cute. Look at that. But this, you just said, I had a dog named Jenny.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we had 2 dogs, Jenny and Kaibab, and 4, at one point, 4 cats, Fox, Chicken, Rudy, and Slippers. And so there you go. Tons of bleps.
I think people need to go to you on Twitter if they ever have trouble naming their animals because you've got some pretty spectacular names right there.
Well, and to be fair, Chicken was actually Chicken 2, Chicken TOO, not Chicken 2, because we had another cat that looked exactly like Chicken 2 named Chicken, and when Chicken passed, we went out and got Chicken 2. But anyway.
My gosh, Jesse. Okay, chat right now is loving it right now. Loli says it's the first time he's heard the word. Loli, it was the first time I heard the word the other day. Because Jesse, you actually called Meatball Meat Blep, like as a new word. You're like, yep, that's Meat Blep, and I was like, what the heck's a blep? And then we learned, and now everyone else learns. Pinky says her dog Frappy bleps a lot when he sleeps. That sounds adorable. And then Loli came back saying, such great names. I agree. I think you've got some really good names for your pets, Jesse. That was really cute.
And I had a hamster called Applesauce because when she slept, she looked like a little ball of applesauce. So
are you kidding me? Oh my heart! Applesauce. That's so cute. Oh my god. Oh, that's gonna do it for the social media roundup.